Go.
It's Queenie. It's Queenie. It's Ellen. It's Ellen. It's the Queenie and Ellen show. Ah.
Zoom. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Queenie and Ellen show, the Queenie and Ellen Book Talk show. I'm your host, Queenie Clem, and
I am your co-host, Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents Your Literary Event Planner.
and I am your literary ambassador. And today we are talking about our top 10 reads for 2019. All right. So, Miss Ellen, you want to go first?
Yes, I will. Oh my goodness, Queenie, it was so hard to do a top 10. This was like just really hard because all the books were good. So I am just going to start with my bottom up. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
That is really okay with you. Well. I'm so torn to get the first word out. You guys don't get me, but I must say it was hard choosing these books. And I'm just going to start from the bottom. I got 8. I'm sorry, Queenie. It was just so
Okay,
hard.
that's fine. That's fine.
So I'm starting from the bottom. My number 8 is Keisha's Drama. I do have that book, and some of the books are on Kindle. Here's Keisha's Drama. And this is by Earl Sewell. I like this book here. Can you see it? Can you guys see it? This is a vintage book, and I got it from a lovely place. And what I did like about this book is that, first of all, it was Keisha's mama was a teen mom, okay? And we get a lot of that these day and time. But what was rare about this, Miss Queenie, is that Keisha's mom, she predicted, or she told her daughter, her teen, that she will never be anything. All that she will be is a baby mama. She will never finish school, not even elementary school. And she told her, you will never be nothing. But Keisha saw past that and said she was going to be something. Ended up meeting her dad. A long story short, small spoiler. What I did like about her father is that once he found out that that was his daughter, he included her in his life. He was very rough because he had kids already.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with him having kids already, and then the wife want to make sure because she's looking out for his best interest. And so it ended up being a wonderful family, and his wife had to fight for this relationship. So that's what I did like about Keisha's Drama. Great job, Earl Sewell. What is yours?
Okay, I have Keisha's drama also on my list. And I just said basically she was a 16-year-old girl that lived in foster care, and then her father her father came and got her, and then now she is in this big pretty fancy house. She has a stepmom that's just overbearing, I guess you could say, and high powered. And then she had a brother also, but she goes to this new school. She's new on the block, and I really enjoyed the story, being it's a YA book. But some of the things that Keisha went through, I could relate. Not as far as foster care, but some of the things that went on in the home, I could relate to. So
wow.
Well,
my top. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
She was one of my books also. That's all I want to say.
Wow. My number 7 is A Time to Speak. Now, Michelle Stimson, I hope I said her name right. The Mama B story. And there's a series. So what I like about that, and the series continue on, so she may be in this book, that book, but You have Mama B. Mama B is this wise, feisty 76,
Mhm.
70 plus year woman. Husband died. I like the way she told the truth about her husband. She
Yes.
said he was mean. She was mean, but there were glimpses and times that she would talk about him, like the funny stuff that they did together. But she let you know, there was times that I felt like that she was glad that he was gone, but not really. She was like, now I can eat this cake all by myself, just different things
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
also like, and then like I say, this is a series, so I also like the fact that Mama B, she didn't play, you coming over to my house and now you coming to visit me with her family. And she's like, no, what are you here for? You ain't been visiting me. Now you want to visit me. So I like how she was very upfront with her family as to why this layover, take care of home and all this stuff. And then I did like that love interest that they had with the doctor. I can't think of his name right now. I'm so sorry. With the doctor and how he lost his wife as well. Hashtag small, little bit of a spoiler. And how he was not trying to, well, she called him a charismatic, safe person because there was things like he drank a little bit. And she felt like absolutely you shouldn't do that. And then he wanted her to dance. She's like, no dancing. But they came in the middle. So I really liked that about that. It was a really good story. Great job, Michelle Stinson. Oh, the other book I gave a 5, and this is a 5 as well.
Oh, I think I gave Keisha, I think I gave it a 5 also. I can't remember. It's been a minute. It was first of this year when I read that book. Anyway, I have 4 books in one, and they're in a series, of course. Bell Bottom High 1 through 4. First book being freshman, second book being a sophomore, third being junior, and fourth being a senior. And it's about not a little girl. She was 14 at the beginning of the first book, Reese Jones. And she attends, of course, Bell High School in Clifton, Arizona, which I think is a fictional town. But in book 1, she helps out it's really not her friend, it's a classmate, Lena, giving her advice because Lena ends up pregnant and runs away. And Reese is going to come to her rescue. In book 2, Reese is now 15. She entering sophomore year, and she's struggling with her family situation. But her best friend Joyce is dealing with an abusive home, and Reese doesn't know about Joyce's situation. But then they come together, and I think I haven't read it in a while, but I think Joyce finally admits it to her. Reese finds out, and they try to rectify the situation. In book 3, which she is a sophomore now, she now go on a group date with some classmates, and something transpires, and she's struggling with that because she's trying to maintain her dignity. Something happens, but through with her friends. And book, she is now a senior. She's 17, and she has a new teacher that comes in the picture. And and something happens in the classroom with this new teacher, and Reese is about to be expelled her senior year. And it's a bunch of twists and turns. I really enjoyed it. It's also a YA. It's by my girl Barbara Jo Williams, but she goes by BJ Williams with this series. But I also give this book a 5-star because I loved it, and I love Barbara Jo and her antics.
You know what? I have that on my list as well. So it's on my list. And so it would be the one I just spoke about would be my number 9, and this would be my number 8. I like Bell Bottom High as well. I also like the fact that her parents, and it shows how the children can manipulate their parents and be on one side and the other. And it also shows that this is not your crispy white, clean, studious family. They work hard. They wasn't like the upper crust, but they were educated, and they were very great family that she came from. And like you say, with her friend uh, Joyce, I hope I said her name.
Best friend.
Reese really, Joyce told her some different things. Reese really want to keep herself. But yes, what made me mad, hashtag small spoiler, is that the fact that the one little boy who tried to like her, and she did have some things I like that. She did have some things like back in the day, beauty, face flawless, and these different things like that. And she was a very beautiful girl in her own right. So I did like that, and how she was always, Reese Jones was always like the mother hen. Anything going on, and then don't forget about Miss I hate to forget her name, the girl that was pregnant.
Lena.
Lena. Yes. Lena being pregnant and taking upon her own self to try to go get an abortion, move to another state. And so I think that Miss Lucy Jones risked a lot dealing with her, even though she was not part of their friend circle. So I did like the way she dealt with that. And I also like how Barbara, like we said, Barbara Jo Williams, in this particular book, her pen name, I like how she showed that not only did Reese help others, but she had some problems of her own. That's what I really like. So 5 star for that. 5 star for that one as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Next one.
Okay. Now this one is sort of one that I just read, and it's called Broken, and it's by author Charlotte Marshall.
Oh, yes.
Now this is very, very new. We just finished it as a book group, and Charlotte Marshall Murray, she is a phenomenal writer. She's not really new to the game, but the game is new to her. Folks that readers and stuff. But I like the fact that her character Diamond Jones and the other leading male role character Andre, she showed us a very important thing. Whether you're going to be a heterosexual and play that role and let somebody else know that you're heterosexual, or are you going to just be on the down low and have your partner not know the role that they play? So I really like that, and it was coming of age right now, things that are very prevalent, that she showed how people just fool around. And she also told us that there is a class of, a community where people don't mind if you gay, straight, whatever you are, it's okay. Love is love. So different things like that. So this is a 5 star for me. I really like this out the gate, and there's a part 2. So this one is really good. I like this. Broken 2 is out there as well. So 5 star for author Charlotte Marshall Murray. This is a good read.
Okay. My next one is If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. And James Baldwin, he is very, very deep. Very deep. This story is about a 19-year-old girl by the name of Tish, and she has a boyfriend named Phony. And they plan on getting married, but he ended up getting arrested, charged for a crime that he did not do. So that prolongs their getting married. So his family and her family try their best to try to clear his name. But in the process, a lot of things happened while he was in jail. And it's really a love story of passion and sadness, but you have to read it to know what I'm talking about. But I thoroughly enjoyed both of the characters because they seem more like alive and relatable, that you could relate to them, and they were very unforgettable. And I give this book a 5 star also. That again, If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin.
Okay. All right. Now, I have The Root in the Gumbo. Now, that's by Kim Robertson. And it's part of her family history. What I really like about it, it's a real family history. And I like Giselle. And Giselle went through a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things that we found out that they don't talk about slavery, such as auctioning young
Yeah,
girls'
yeah.
virginity off. Now, we talk about slavery, but we don't talk about those things right there. And I felt really disturbed as to you have these young girls, they're 12. The parents must give them away, you know, and when they give them away, it doesn't matter the tender age of the child. And intimacy is not important. They are just used as animals, or just, let's just say they're more like cattle. And so I like what Kim showed in this. And she also showed like the family history from her great, 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 great grandmother, and how she was at the master's house and she was done. She was leaving. She don't care if she died, lived. She was getting out of there, and she was going to survive. And then I also like the love interest, how she, one of the things, you know, you have to pass the octoroon, pass for white, pass for black. And you can't be black, you know, dark-skinned black, but you had to look just right for the master's use, become a mistress in the master's house. So I really like that, how she showed, even though all of the women had power. And then I love, like, they showed one girl that was just so abused by her husband. I want to say Jen, where her husband was so violent. He was very violent. So there was a lot of stuff going on there. So that is an A-star book for me right there, 5 stars.
Okay, I read the book also, but it's not on my top 10. I'm sorry, Kim. But that book was very deep. It gave me a history lesson, for one thing, and I like how in the book, even though it's over 500 pages, I like how she gave us her family tree. She also included pictures of everyone in the story. And then at the back of it, it showed recipes of the recipe.
Yes.
Great great grandmother fixed like the gumbo, how it's done and everything. But I really thoroughly enjoyed that book, and it gave me a history lesson, and I really enjoyed it. But my next book is Well Read Black Girl: Finding Our Stories, Discovering Ourselves by Gloria Edmond. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is the book cover. It's basically a book about a black girl. It's an anthropology, of course, and it's just essays by black female writers. I loved it. It gave me a glimpse of the female black authors that were in this book. It gave me a glimpse of their writing, what they talked about. I enjoyed some of them. I did not, but it's a book of original essays about a black girl or a black woman, and I really really enjoyed that one also, and I gave that one a 5-star also.
Here's mine right here by Jacqueline Mitchell, A Theory of Relativity. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
A little bit.
I'll try to put it close like that. This is a theory of relativity. It was just a lot of stuff going on in.
Go ahead.
Okay, one thing I really did like about that, Jacqueline Mitchell, a theory of relativity. Okay, in this story, hashtag small spoiler, I'm sorry, it was a little bit ago that I read it, but baby Kiefer's mother She was it opens up, I'm not giving it all away. It opens up with a horrific accident. Now, at this
Oh.
time, baby Kiefer she's very small. So baby Kiefer had paternal grandparents. And here you have um, Gordon and his sister, who is baby Kiefer's mother. Mind you, I forgot her name. I'm sorry. They've been adopted. So because they were adopted, Gordon and his sister, they have no paternal say so on her baby because she's not living. She's the rightful mother, but they're the rightful grandparents because she was adopted. They treated his mother so bad. Long story short, the paternal grandmothers are evil, just split second evil. They don't even care about us. So there was a split where there was time that she was with Gordon, who loved her, who just absolutely adore her, where with the paternal grandmother, they could not stand her.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some things that we learn about this relationship, and this was a true story, and there was a true case that the paternal grandmother were vicious in this court case, vicious, mind you. So I really liked this, and I gave it a 5, and this was the worst case that I ever looked on. It was so, to be honest, I got almost all the way to the end of this book and I couldn't take it anymore. So I read a lot of the book, but I was so heartbroken that I could not finish. I may visit it back again, but it was just that horrific. So I still, from what I read, some of you readers might go, oh, you didn't even finish all of it. From all of that I read, I'd say I read about maybe 85% of the book. I just couldn't take it anymore.
So you
And
got
I'll
DNF
revisit.
book. So you got a DNF book you got to go back to.
Yes. Yes, I have to revisit. I may have to go all the way from the top or where I stopped off at. But it was, what I read, I gave it a 5, but it was just too much to take. So that was my book there.
Okay. My next book is Black Enough, of course. It's a YA again. I really indulged in YA because I am in a reading class and we teach a reading class. And that's why I had to read a lot of YA books this year. And Black Enough, stories of being young and Black in America by B. Zoe Boy is I-B-I is her first name. Z-O-O-I is her last name. And it had several stories in this book. One was two sisters at a summer camp in Oregon. It was written by, like I was saying, the first story is by Renee Watson, and it's about two sisters having a relationship together at a summer camp in Oregon. The second story is by Jason Reynolds, who is all of these are YA authors. They're also African American. He writes about three friends who are walking back from the pool, but they're not talking about everything. And then sometimes they're talking about what's going on in their lives of these three friends. Then in the third story is by Nick Cannon. She talks about this boy. Well, it's a girl. She's very high class, very beautiful. She is dating a boy that her mother does not approve of on their journey there. Then the fourth story in the book is two girls are kissing. And it's a story set in Maryland. So that's and the person who wrote that story is Justina Ireland. And it's about two girls kissing. Of course, it's going to be some lesbian story. And but all the stories about being rich or poor, mixed race, about immigrants, about urban, about city life. It was a very good book for a young person, I guess it'd be middle school, middle grade, high school age to read. I love the little stories that were in there. I've read all of these characters except Justine. I never read her stuff before, but I would love to read more. And I gave that book, Black Enough, Stories of Being Young and Black in America. I gave that 5 stars also. And
Terrific.
here is a book cover of that. And you can see it is a light-skinned boy with a darker skinned girl. Are you, I guess, saying is you black enough, really? Basically, that's what it's saying. By skin tones.
I know that Queenie and I are giving it lots of 5. These books are so 5 rated. So here's my next one, Queenie. This one is by Tony Lindsay. And it is titled More Boy Than Girl. Tony Lindsay, I like him. He genres himself, or what genre he gives himself. He said he is a Black experience writer. Not so much that, like we say, Black lit, but they may classify him as that. In this story, you have a main character, and the main character name is Daybreak Jones. Hashtag small spoiler because it's in the beginning. Daybreak Jones is a female who is a lesbian pimp. As Tony asked me what kept me, because this was very raw, very, very raw, very explicit words, something that took me a little bit to read, but I gave it a 5 star. Well, really, I said 4.5 because of the language, but it does wave a 5, okay? So you have Daybreak Jones, and Daybreak Jones was raised by her dad. So Daybreak Jones always felt like she was a boy. So I asked Tony, because we did an interview with him, I asked him, I said, well, what happened to her? Was she raped? Did she not like men? He said, nothing happened to her. She just chose and always felt that she was a boy. And so with saying that, she was very thuggish. I mean, she played it well. So to bring in the story, I wanted to know what kept me reading this book is I wanted to know where was the mama. So it shows, hashtag spoiler in the beginning, this is not a spoiler per se, but it shows the mom. The mom was a prostitute, a drug addict. And so Daybreak Jones' dad wanted her to sober up so she can have a good pregnancy. So she sober up the whole time of the pregnancy, the delivery and all that. Then she goes back to the scene. Well, when she goes back to the scene, she ODs. When she ODs in that scene, Daybreak Jones' dad went after everybody, the drug dealer, the person who administrated the drug, the person who watched out, what all of those things that take to make her get her good drug that day. So that's what got me. I was like, OMG. Daybreak Jones has this lover, Daisy. These are teens now. They're under their 20s. Coming of age, probably pretty close, but teenagers like that. So what really caught my attention the second time is Miss Daisy. Miss Daisy has never had a chance. She was on the street. Her mom's on the street. She was a prostitute herself, so young and yet knew the game. And she didn't have a pimp. So that's bad when you don't have a pimp. So Daybreak became her pimp. So you have this girl who mama and her mother's boyfriend, Daisy has been raped lots of times, too many times to count, by her mother's boyfriend. And so here you see this boyfriend. This was just so cold. So hashtag spoiler, readers, I know you may not like this, but this is another thing what caught my attention. So here you have Daisy's mama. She's telling her boyfriend, no, leave my baby alone, blah, blah, blah. Cold-hearted boyfriend kills mom in front of Daisy and still commits to being intimate with Daisy while the dead body is there. Who does that?
Nobody.
And so that's what got me. But he got his. So this was a 5, and I know y'all probably say, oh, she gave so much away. No, I didn't. These were the details that pulled me in. 5-star, good job. Tony Lindsay, I really like this. It was hard, but I really like this. Daybreak Jones. Wonderful. Who is your next?
My next one is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I've read 7 books this year. She is again YA. I think I'm
Wow.
here. I love the afro. I love it. I'm gonna try to pronounce her name. Ziamora. That's how I pronounce it. Ziamora. She lives in Harlem. She's got this bad brick house body, but she has to fight. She has to fight. But she used, instead of her fists, she used her mouth.
Oh, wow.
And she ended up catching feelings for a boy named Amon, a man in her biology class. What she does, she writes poetry in her notebook. And she fights, instead of going out there and physically fighting, she's fighting with words. So, and I give that one a 5-star too, because when I was younger, I did fight. If anybody looked at me wrong, I fought.
Oh, wow.
But then that was like in the elementary, the beginning, the middle, and the first of high. But after my second year in high school, I was like, I ain't gonna fight. I'm gonna use my mouth. And that's what I did. I used my mouthpiece. And I could relate to the character in the story.
Wow. My next, and this is a vintage book. This is a book I got from a store, and it is very so vintage. And I was like, okay, let's see what's in these pages. So it's vintage. I give it some love. Still got the good pages. This is Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry. I really like this book. I gave it a 5. Let me just start off with saying that. In Gathering Blue, you have this little girl, Kyra, and then this community of people who society calls a misfit or something. You couldn't have any imperfections. If you, Kyra, she had a twisted leg, so she had a gift. So in order to keep these imperfect people, they had to have a gift, some type of gift that would contribute to society. So Kyra, her adopted mother, Catherine, dies. And not only does she die, everything that belonged to Catherine, they burn up because of the sickness or whatever. And so she's left alone. So then they have these tyrants, these little guys, we might call them misfits, or I can't think of the word now, but you have these tyrants that they call, that's out on the street, and these little kids, for some reason, they always take the parents. They leave these kids alone, and they really don't take good care of them, but just showboat them. and they leave these kids to fend for themselves. If they take a bath, they get upset with them. Aha, you took a bath. So they did not want these kids to fit in society. And so Kyra has her father, Christopher, who early on, they say he died. But there's a ray of hope in this story that you're just going to have to read. And there is one girl that just lies. Vendetta. She got on my nerves. I know I'm saying her name wrong right now, but she was such a mean witch. She was so mean. She lied. And they always say it's this beast and stuff. But Kyra learned how to use her craft. She learned this very special blue, how to make this blue technique that she was taught. And she learned how to skill herself and make it in society. So I won't give any more than that away, but I really like Gathering Blue. 5.
Okay. Well, my next one is My Namesake, Queenie, by Candace Carty Williams. Now, let me say this. Oops, I got
OMG.
Now, I love this cover. This is box braids, honey. It is to die for. But the girl named Queenie in this story, she is 25. She's Britain. She's Jamaican British. She lives in London. She works for a newspaper company, and it's all Caucasian. She's the only, I think, African American in the place. She has a white longtime boyfriend, and he's not really good for her. She has very low self-esteem. She doesn't think she's worth anything. So this is not, it might be my namesake, but it sure ain't me. But but I really enjoyed the culture, because I've never been to London, but it talks about a lot of things that go on in London. From not really compares, but I learned a lot about the culture over there in London with, like I said, she's a Jamaican and British. She's a Jamaican and British descent, but living in London. But I think she was considered a black girl.
And sometimes they call those half castes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I really, really enjoyed this book also. I wanted to smack her a couple of times in the story. She had her self-esteem was so low that it was down to the ground where you could just literally step on it. And the boyfriend didn't help her situation. But anyway, I give Queenie I gave it 5 stars because I really enjoyed the story, but I just wish she would have manned up a lot quicker than she did.
My next story kind of reminds me, it's called Sunrise, okay, and it's by David Kaufman and his wife Susie. So this was a time when autism was not as pronounced as it is now, or accepted. So here you have baby Khalil. Baby Khalil at first seems to be blind, seems to be deaf. So the mother would look at him, and he had this gift where he took this little plate and he would spin it around to it just spun in awe for him. And even on the picture, that's his glazed eyes in amazement as to what he sees. Early on, Barry Kaufman and his wife Susie, they wanted help for their child. In this book, they were told by psychologists that we cannot help him until he's a little bit older. Well, a parent wants to know their child now. They don't have time. He doesn't talk. He's in his own world. He doesn't like to be touched, the sensories. And they want to hold their baby. So they can't hold him. They can't really do much with him. And so they go on this quest. They were told by psychiatrists to wait, to just take him off to an institution. And the final thing they was told, that he was just ruined. They just said he'll never, it's bad. He'll never make it. You know, he's a tragedy. That's their exact words. Oh, he's such a tragedy. So he has 2 siblings, Bree, and he have Thea, who loves him and they want to be a part of his life as well. So one of the girls, I don't know if it was Bree or Thea, Brian or Thea, they was told by an adult, oh, it's a shame. What a tragedy your brother is. She knew what the word tragedy was, but in the sense of relating it to her brother, she was in awe. She went home and she told her dad, she said, they said my brother's a tragedy. What are they talking about? What do they mean he's a tragedy? The dad had a wonderful response. He told her, don't worry about them. Let them do whatever they do. Your brother's fine. Mm-hmm. We're going to love him just the same. They got to figure out these things. And so the dad, with them having some psychology experience, he just kind of looked, let's go down the line. Let's see what's wrong with him. Psychotic, autism. Mm-hmm. And he just kind of said it out loud. So him and his wife, they got together, which I love the tag team they had. They got together and they just did a journal. What he did this day, what affected him, what made him trigger, all these things they did. And they just did a day-to-day, week-to-week chart with them. Mm-hmm. And then there were times when they took him places and they said it in the book, they really hated being there because the way they treated him, the ultimate goal for a person with autism was institutionalization or institutionalized, and she would see how they do them. They loved music. They wouldn't let them have music because they would go off and they were too excited, handful. But that's what he loved. He loved music. So a long story short of it all, here baby Khalil, he grew up and he ended up writing a book about autism, how to help people with autism. So I love this story. It was a 5-star. It was sad, but it was wonderful. Mm-hmm. So they did a great job. But I also feel like that they didn't get their just due to finally have a breakthrough for their own son and to teach others about it. Sunrise is their organization. And I just didn't think they got enough recognition. I think they should have in doing so. But they were very great advocates for their children, and they teach you, be an advocate for your own child. So I really like that. Queenie, this is really good.
So that was a real life story.
Yes, It's a true story. It's a true story. Yes, ma'am. What is your next?
Okay. This is by Shantae Keys. And she is a friend on my Facebook page. It's called Hating the Skin I'm In. Of course, another YA. Bam. But it's really, it's YA, but it could be for an adult.
Okay.
Learn the lesson from it, is what I mean. It's by Iris Graves. She's a blue-eyed 12-year-old. And she don't like the skin she in. She bleaches water to become lighter, thinking that will make her pretty. She wanted no more than to be blonde hair, fair skin. She didn't want to be black. She thinks she will get ridiculed or mistreated because of her skin. But she has to find love within herself.
Mm-hmm.
But does she?
Wow.
I'm gonna say. But it is the skin, the hating the skin that I'm in by Shantae Keys, and she is on Facebook if y'all want to look her up.
So, is this a fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
So, in the character in the book, did she have blue eyes or she wore contact lens?
I think she wore contact lenses. It didn't really say, it just said she had blue eyes. But she was a black.
Mm. Mm. Well, in there, small hashtag spoiler, if you can, what was her parents? And did they tell her that she was black or?
She was black. Her parents, they her parents tried to make her accept who she was.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the picture. They were active in her life, but she had in her head that if I'm blonde with these blue eyes and pretty fair skin, not black skin, then she wasn't pretty. And I'm assuming she got this from society and her friends, but in the end, she had, like her parents told her, you got to love yourself within before you can see the beauty on the outside.
Wow. That is really something else. Wow. We do a lot of self-inflicted to our own culture. We because we're military, and a long story short, my oldest daughter, dark skinned, but she was always the only person of color in her classroom during our military career. So, elementary age, I don't know, first grade, second grade, somewhere along there, she came home and she did her hands. She was like, I want this off. I thought it was something on her, so I didn't really look. And then I looked to see what she was talking about. She was talking, and this is true, she was talking about she wanted her skin off. She didn't understand being black. And I never thought I would have to explain being black. Mm-hmm. So I told her she was black. And then years later, as we moved here in Virginia, she was more ridiculed from her peers. Because she was fourth grade, 5'5", already tall, couldn't fit in any of the desk because they were too small because she was tall. So all of her self-inflicted came from our own peers. So I can somewhat, try to relate to, even though I haven't read the book, with being self-inflicted by your own peers.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me say this. She was 12 in the story. 12, and I can imagine at 12, that's middle school age. I wasn't thinking about, I guess that's now in the society now, but back when I was 12, that wasn't one of my concerns. It really, I don't recall it being a concern. But about you and about your daughter being tall, it had to be, the desk was too little for her, being her statue. But I was thinking about a couple of years ago, we had a little small desk at the school I teach at, and this one girl, she came from New York. I'm not gonna say her name, but she'll know who I'm talking about when I get to say the story. She was a full-figured little black girl. Mm-hmm. I mean, she was heavy set, and when she walks in, and I guess I pick up on stuff like this because I'm heavy set. I pick up on stuff, and I'm like, okay, where's she gonna sit at? There's something thinking in my head when she walks in. And I knew she couldn't sit at a desk because I couldn't even sit in them desks. So it was brought her back to my desk and let her sit in the chair that was next to my desk. Called the plant engineer. I'm not gonna say his name because he still works. But I had to call him. I was like, hey, we need some big girl desk up in here ASAP. Like, really? I was like, yeah. I said, I'll change them all out and put big girl desk. I said, go down the hall and get we call it, but it was the big blue desk. I said, go get the big girl desk. We need a couple of them in here. And by the next day, she felt more comfortable. She kind of gave me she gave me a nod. She didn't I took the nod as thank you, but did nobody know what was going on or why we got new desks. They didn't have a clue. But
that's good.
Comfortable for those 4 years that she was there at the high school. But I always say, when we have meetings and stuff, and I look in the room like, oh God, y'all ain't got no big girl desk. So I have to go out and get me a chair and bring it into somebody's room where we have a meeting. Or sometimes I have to sit at the person who room we're in. I sit at their desk because it's no big girl. Or I, like I said, pull a chair and I put it up to the desk so I can have my computer and do my work. But I'm out as soon as I walk in the room. If it ain't a big girl desk, then I start getting worried because I know it might be, especially the first of the year. I'd be like, oh God. I'd be wanting to look at pictures of the kids to see if they are huge or do we got enough desks? Do we got this?
Wow.
Desks, like in one room, we do have big girl desks. In the other room, we do not. And we have a little girl that is heavy set also. And she feels comfortable. She act like she's comfortable, but in my back of my mind, I'm like, she ain't comfortable because she covers herself up. Like put on 2 or 3 different coats, and she sits over in the corner, and that's her seat.
Wow.
Yes, being in that corner with all those layers of clothes on, she feels comfortable. But I just look like I know she's not comfortable because I can't even sit in these chairs.
Wow.
So I try to foresee. Okay, we're gonna need some big girl desk in here. We're gonna need this. I guess people are like, well, what you worried about that for? Because I want that child to be comfortable. So when they come,
that's right.
They ain't got to worry about how I'm going to fit in the seat or my butt going to hurt, my stomach going to hurt, what's going to hurt. I need to be focusing on what the teacher going to teach me today.
That's right.
So
that's beautiful. Great advocate for your students.
Yes.
My next one in my final book, it is by, if you can see it. Can you see that?
Oh, If These Trees Could Talk by Brian.
By Brian W. Smith.
Yeah. Yes. I gave that book a 5-star. That was my year for last. And I gave it a 5. It was on my top 10.
I gave it a 5-star, and I couldn't believe. And again, here's another topic that we don't look at too much. Okay, you have 2 11 years old males. Both guys, Josh and Steve, their boyfriend is molesting them. Doug is one of them and the other guy. So they're both being molested, and they're both trying to get that guy, their attackers or their abusers, back. And I learned in this story too, they talk more about Steve than they did. And I want to make sure I have his name right. Is it Steve, the younger guy?
Yeah, Steve.
So there's a white guy, Steve, and a black guy, a white guy, Steve, and Josh is black. Or is it the other way around? Please help me out. I am so sorry, guys. So we have, the roles are switched. You have the white guy who lives in poverty, and you have the black guy who's well off. So I like the way they do that. And the meeting place is in these big old trees. And so they would talk about, oh my goodness, one scene. He just opened up with that one scene where Stevie comes in and the 2 boys are talking. And he tells him, I can't sit down. Automatically, I knew. I was like, no, did he say he can't sit down? What just happened? Did he say he couldn't sit down? And then you have Stevie, who, is a pro at this, and he tells him, what got me was like how he tells him, look, if he does this, you do this. You mean tell me he was upset? Well, it's just like a female dude that has an abusive man. She make up excuses. Well, maybe I made him upset. Well, maybe it was something I did that caused him to act that way. And this is what he was doing to his friend to counteract these bad feelings and to try to cope with this pain that he was going through. And then we see his mom, They don't talk too much about Steve, Mom.
No,
Make
uh-uh.
sure.
I
But
don't
they
think so.
always talked about. I want to make sure that.
Cause one of them, I'm thinking it's Stevie. His mom, I think she worked a lot, so she was never in the picture.
Yes.
The boyfriend always at home. Like the boyfriend was already there.
Yes,
The mom worked a lot.
Doug didn't even do nothing. He didn't even work. He's just there. And he would just
all right. And okay, my next book is They Don't Hear Her Cries by Alethea Gibbs. Gibbs Truth, No Lie. I love saying that.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, let me show y'all her book cover.
Is this the revised one?
Yes.
I haven't read it yet, but I like the beginning, the few 2 lines I read of the revised.
There it is. And,
woohoo!
And if y'all notice the tear, can you see that tear coming out of the eye?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I didn't even tell Alethea say, she said, do you see her crying? I said, she ain't crying. She said, look at that tear coming out her eye. I said, oh, okay.
I did not see that. All I saw was the hair.
Oh, yeah, I loved it. I thought it was her. She said, no, that is not her on the cover. But I cannot pronounce the girl name in the book, so I'm going to call her Z. She lives with her father. She doesn't get much attention from her father, or the love she thinks she wants from her father, she's not getting. So she goes out and finds it. And she finds herself
Zenobia.
That's how you pronounce it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Zenobia. She lives in Jersey area. She's trying to find herself. She's determined though. She's determined to find herself, but she got so many things going on in her life, and in that lifestyle in that area that she lives in is really testing her. But all she want to do is survive and be loved. And I really, really enjoyed the story. Again, I can relate. I'm gonna be a little bit transparent, but I wanted love. I look just like my daddy, and I wanted love from my daddy, and I didn't get it. I got it from another man. That was not my father, but he showed me that fatherly figure, and he accepted me as his daughter back then. Quote unquote back then, not now. Anyway, but I can really relate to it. I really enjoyed it. And I did give, this is her revised copy, like you said. The first copy was, but we ain't gonna go there.
We're not.
Book, this particular book being revised was very good. No, it made sense. It came together smoothly. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I wish I could got more. If we're gonna have to write, Alethea, if you're out there, you need to write another a sequel or something, or number 2, or book 2 or something. We need to know more of what's going on with her life now. And my last book is called A Slice of Temptation, and it was by it's by Thaddeus King. And here is one of the covers. And as you can tell, that is an apple, and it's red and green. It's actually the retelling of the Adam and Eve story in modern day times.
Ooh.
Honey, he took me on a whirlwind, but everybody knows the Adam and Eve story. Eve was the one that said, Adam, you need to eat this, but he twisted around and made it, like I say, in today's society, and the devil kept coming to her, asking her for stuff, was gonna give her stuff. She got some red bottom shoes. Now name brand. She got the jewelry. Everything the devil gave her, she should not have took, but she did. Like I said, it's not back in that time, in the Bible time. It's still the same story, but they changed it up and made it modern time. And Thaddeus, you did a superb job.
Wow.
I really, really enjoyed it. It's not a Christian fiction book. It's an urban fiction, but it's the Adam and Eve, and it was excellent. Excellent. All right, but that book was excellent. Do you have anything else you would like to add, Miss Ellen, before we leave, before we close this season 1, episode 2?
I don't have anything.
All right, let's bring our boy in here to sing our song. Come on, Jamal.
It's Queenie. It's Queenie. It's Ellen. It's Ellen. It's the Queenie and Ellen show.
All right, there you go. There you have it. This is episode 2. Stay tuned for next Wednesday for episode 3. With that being said, I'm your literary ambassador, Queenie, and you are?
I am Ellen Sutter, your literary planner.
All right, until next time, y'all. See you later.
Bye-bye.